welcome back to the channel. I gotta admit, when I first saw Aisha Tyler, I wasn't really a fan. I wasn't really a big fan. I don't know why. I'm not sure what exactly about her turned me off, but after watching a few interviews, after I guess getting to know more about her, I warmed up to her. I like Aisha Tyler. I think it's because I didn't like her in the beginning because she was extremely nerdy, and I listened to her in a Chris Rock interview just a little bit ago. Two comedians in a podcast. She has a podcast called Girl on Guy. And one of my pet peeves is when people use big words in casual conversation. Now, I'm all for academia. I'm all for intellectualism. But sometimes you got to know how to, turn it off. And Aisha Tyler is a nerd. A self-professed nerd at that. But I like her still. But she's not able to turn the nerd off. She's nerd all the time. And you'll kind of hear that as she speaks. This is an interview she did here with a Canadian station, QTV. And they got to the point of, I watched the whole interview. There's a 23-minute interview. This is just a snippet of it. This is like one of the middle portions, and it's talking about the topic of you're not black enough. Okay, now you've noticed I've done a few topics like this on my channel already, and it's because I hate this concept of you're not black enough by the ghetto police, the hood police. You know what I'm saying? The guardians of the hood. You're not black enough. Come back when you've watched some more Tyler Perry. You know what I mean? All right, let's go ahead and watch. The interview. Warning: I am going to stop the interview through portions, and I am going to comment. This is what this video is about. Let's go ahead and get it started.
You said early on that many people wanted you to fit into the stereotype of how they thought a black female comedian should be.
Right.
What is that
kind of
stereotype?
ladies in the 90s, what? Oh, girl, drive it down, back it up, ba-donk-a-donk. Which is not to say that women who do that kind of comedy aren't brilliant at what they do, but you can hear from my voice that I don't have the accent.
Wow, okay, she's brilliant. Let me tell you why she's brilliant. She can make fun. Now, if a white woman or a Spanish woman, well, maybe not a Spanish woman, but if a white woman or maybe an Asian, let's just say white. Everybody likes to pick on white people, which is, whatever it is. It's sad. But if a white woman had done what she just did, it would have been considered racist. Now, let me tell you something. I got accused of being racist one time by a black woman for me making fun. I was making fun of guys who wear their pants around their ankles and around their knees. Okay, making fun of these thugs and these retards. I mean, as they should be made fun of. They look ridiculous. And she said that was racist, and that was the first time I'd ever been called racist by a black person. And I'm black, and I thought that was interesting. As black people, we need to be able to laugh at other black people, and we need to be able to laugh at the stupid things that happen in our culture. Aisha Tyler's genius right here. She's able to laugh at these foolish things in black culture.
And I think it used to be disappointing when I would
you were
get
letting
up.
down the team by
I was
not
letting the
developing
whole team,
it?
like I hadn't gone to the meetings, I had missed the newsletter. I just missed that whole year of school where I learned how to do that. And if I can't do the neck thing, I'm very uncoordinated. So it was very hard early on in comedy because white audiences didn't quite understand me, but black audiences especially didn't understand me because it was at the height of Def Comedy Jam and people wanted something very specific from black comedians. And I realized after circling it for a little while that I could never sell that. It wasn't who I was. And I think for comedy, as in art, you become successful when you are purely and unabashedly yourself.
All right, let me stop it there. She made a really good point. It appears that she tried to fake the funk, and she tried to actually pretend to speak Ebonics. Now I've heard her speak a little Ebonics. It doesn't really sound authentic, and it shouldn't, because she wasn't raised that way. She didn't grow up that way. She grew up a little bit, in a different environment. So, but interesting that she tried to, pass that off to the to the public, and she makes another interesting comment here. But just quickly to say, it is, be yourself. If you've grown up, in a community, and your parents took you out the hood, or you were raised outside of the hood, you were raised in the suburbs, or whatever the case is, however you grew up, just be yourself. Don't worry about the hood patrol. Don't worry about the hood police, the Ebonics police. They have enough problems as it is.
And whatever that is, you have to inhabit it fully. And so when I just started to say, look, this is who I am. I'm a big nerd who likes sci-fi and video games, and I'm not going to apologize for it. That was when my audience found me. But yeah, you can't get up there, and I know these guys would be one way off stage and another way on stage, and it just, just like, what are you doing?
But you've also had Black people don't do that.
Yes.
Being said to you as well.
Yes.
And you were the first Black woman to host.
She noticed, she mentioned how she would catch people who were Black who would put on an act for the crowd. See, because here's the thing. Hood, people who are from the hood, that it's entertaining to people because it's coonery. It's what people want to see. It's what makes them laugh. It's so ridiculous to white people and other Black people that they just want to laugh at you. They may like you because you're making them laugh, but in actuality, they're laughing at you. They're laughing with you and at you. That's the truth. And, people are talking about cooning. This is what it is. You don't even, a lot of these people from the hood don't realize that they're being laughed at by the way they speak. People make fun of you. People will have these, white people will have these little, parties where they dress up like thugs with these big ridiculous chains on and rappers, and have pants sagging down to their knees. I mean, hey, you earned it. And I'm saying you because because I believe there are two Black cultures in America, whether people want to accept that or not. There are the Aisha Tylers, There are the people who are like her. And then there are the people who are like DMX and Little John. Let's keep going.
Talk Soup. You played the first long-running Black character on Friends.
Yeah.
You were Ross's girlfriend.
Yeah.
I never thought Ross was...
First I was Joey's girlfriend, and then I was...
That's
Ross's
right.
Girlfriend. Yes, the slutty
Neither of whom were good enough for you.
Thank you.
Was that? Did you feel the pressure of, on one side not being Black enough, and then doing things that Black people are not supposed to do?
Yes. Yeah. For a long time, and that thing. I mean, I still get those comments now, like you're not Black enough. I talked about this on W. I don't know if you guys have the show, but W. Kamau Bell's show, Totally Biased.
Had him on the show,
he's a brilliant comedian, and we both had that thing, kind of being Black nerds or blurs, and people saying like Black people don't do that. And I remember someone told a friend of mine who was getting food on set at a television show that Black people don't eat bagels, and I was like, Black people don't eat bread with a hole in it? What are you talking about?
Great point. And what she's touching on is a really important point, because in African America, we have some of the most ridiculous rules. I mean, Black people don't go skiing because skiing is for white people. But Black people can play basketball and football, even though those are sports invented by white people and started by white people. I mean, it's just ridiculous when you think about it. It's laughable. And these are the type of people white America and everybody else loves to laugh at. Okay? Because they say some of the dumbest things that don't make any sense. And if you had this said to you, just ignore these people. The best thing you can do is to just ignore them. That's it. Let me keep going with the video.
Like it makes no sense to me. So I've never tried to be. I was an outsider just by the nature of who I was, but I've really come to embrace that. And I remember, finally I was like, well, I'm just going to like the stuff I like. I'm going to stop trying to please people. So, in middle school, I was like listening to like underground New York punk and skating, and I taught snowboarding in college because I felt like, well, I might as well just do stuff that I'm interested in instead of worrying about how it's going to be perceived.
All right, she makes a really good point there. I got a quick story. When I was in high school, long time ago, when I was in high school, I was in 11th grade. I used to listen to, I started off in middle school, started listening to R&B, whatever was on the radio, rap back then, pop. And then high school, I got influenced by my cousins, and I started listening to East Coast rap, Dr. Dre, obviously, Snoop Dogg, West Coast, East Coast. I was listening to Pete Rock, Seal Smooth, Wu-Tang, whatever was hot back then. And I remember one day we were at a pep rally, and I was with two of my friends, two black friends. And they put on some music, and I started tapping my foot. And come to find out, it was Nirvana. Okay, it was a band called Nirvana, and it was a song, I think it's Smell Like Teen Spirit or Lithium, one of the two. Anyway, I was being told that I'm not supposed to like that music because it's not music that black people make. But at the same time, black people will go to the movie theater and watch movies made by white people based on white comic books and comic book, just hypocrisy, just idiot. I mean, black people in America make up some of the most oppressive rules for themselves. And you would think that they would go out and create new sports that we can play. But no, they're playing basketball and football, which are white sports. But then they won't go surfing because surfing is a white sport. No, surfing is a native Hawaiian sport, and it wasn't even a sport back then. It was a native Hawaiian pastime, and Hawaiians are colored people, brown-skinned people. I mean, so when you start to look at things, when you start to nitpick and really try to understand the mentality of the hood patrol, the hood police, the ghetto police, the Ebonics police, when you start to really get down into it, you find out they're just full of crap. Let me keep going.
And there's nothing more fun than snowboarding down a mountain in Vermont.
What was the turning
and
point?
Scaring the crap out of white people. It is so much. People are hitting trees. It's like just like a Yeti went by. What's happening? Yeah.
What was the turning point where you realized that it's okay to be you, and therefore found your voice?
I mean, I think in my 20s, maybe. I think it took a while. There was always a part of me, especially early on in my career, that would apologize. I could get up on stage and I'd apologize for how I sounded, and I'd apologize for, the fact that I seem so different. And, here's why. Let me explain to you why I'm like this. And I'm lucky I don't have to do that anymore now because people know who I am. But
that's one thing. One thing I disagree with what she just said is, about the apologies. Why should you apologize for speaking English the way English was meant to be spoken? Why should you apologize for being intelligent? No, the people who should be apologizing are the hood patrol, the ghetto police, the Ebonics police. They should be apologizing for destroying English. They should be apologizing for passing that on to other black people and young black kids, making them think it's okay to ruin English. You can be black and speak English. That's okay. That's fine. You don't have to sound like a slave. There's nothing wrong with speaking English. There's nothing wrong with certain sports. You want to play sports? Go ahead. Look at the Olympics. Let's look at what black women did in the Olympics, in gymnastics, in swimming. Black women went all out and did what they wanted to do and came home with gold medals. And I was really proud of these girls. Simone Biles, I forgot the swimmer's name, and even shot put. There was a black woman doing shot put. Look, we need to take the handcuffs off of ourselves. We need to do whatever we want to do that makes us happy, and that's it. Stop putting labels on things. And if you're going to put labels on things, you better be ready to make up your own sports and your own movies and your own, Olympic sports and everything else. And be willing to stop playing basketball and stop playing football, which are not ours. Okay? And stop eating sliced bread, which is not ours. And, it just all these nitpicking things. Let's continue.
But it took a while. That's part of being alive, right? Like slowly kind of figuring out who you are. But I think purely from a creative standpoint, again, like you can't create freely until you're creating from a free place. You know what I mean? So I just stopped just giving a crap. And it's been very freeing.
All right. Yeah, that was a great interview. The way she ended that was the way they ended the video was amazing, because that's how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be yourself. And when you're yourself is when you are your best, when you're creative. Black people who are themselves. Look at these black girls in the Olympics, in the Olympics that just passed in Brazil. They were themselves. They decided, you know what, I'm going to join the swim team. I'm going to join the gymnastics team. Yeah, I know other black people don't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And this is how Black America responds. Usually Black America in the beginning, that's for white people. You're not black enough if you're doing that. Okay. Look at Serena Williams and her sister. I forgot, Venus Williams. I remember when they started playing tennis. Tennis wasn't for black people, according to these rules from the ghetto patrol and the hood police and the Ebonics police. Tennis wasn't for black people. Neither was golf with Tiger Woods. Golf wasn't for black people either. But black people will typically, once someone makes it popular, once someone makes it cool, once someone makes it okay, they'll accept it. Black people will accept it. It's okay to play tennis now as a black person. It's okay. It's fine. Look at Serena. It's okay to play golf. Look at Tiger Woods. It's okay to play basketball. It's okay to play football. Once someone breaks rank and decides to be themselves, then it's okay. That's how Black America operates. So I want to point that out. It's a haphazard, hypocritical, biased system that just doesn't work. I'm gonna do another video here, a video review with Aisha Tyler and Joan Rivers. Give me a second. All right, this is an interview that Aisha Tyler did with Joan Rivers. Really good interview. At about this mark, the 8-minute, 12-second mark, is when Joan is going to ask her about what happened with Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was facing some criticism. I didn't even know this. Bill Cosby apparently brought Joan Rivers to the limelight. He brought her on. He brought her into the game, to the acting world, into Hollywood, into the business, as they say. So here, let's go ahead and listen to this portion of the interview.
Percent checks are the best. Not worth the paper they're printed on.
Are you getting like Bill Cosby, who really discovered me and pushed me on the Carson show, and I love him so much. And a lot of black people now have turned against him and said, "You're not black enough." What does that mean?
No, I've gotten that criticism.
Yeah, it's so stupid. That means you're educated. What are you talking about?
Well, it's also the idea that there's a standard for what is black. A lot of marginalized communities have this: you're not Latino enough, or you're not gay enough, or you're not. The best thing about being liberated is I can be. Are we on the internet? We can do whatever the fuck I want to do.
Yes.
Okay, she made a really good point here. She talked about marginalized communities. I've heard Latinos call each other coconut. Okay. I thought that was incredible. I've heard Asian people call each other banana. I think it was banana. it really is crazy when you think about it. You know, if this is the case, no one should go to university. No one should study Western science because, you know, obviously Western science is something that white people developed the method for. No one should drive cars. White people invented cars. No one should ride motorcycles. White people invented motorcycles. You know, you see how that goes. It's just right on down the line. I don't know what started this, how this started, but it's interesting to hear different perspectives and how this happened to her and how and then look at Joan Rivers. She can't even believe it. It's incredible, man. You know, Bill Cosby is, to me, the quintessential intelligent black man. Yes, he's in a lot of trouble right now. He's facing court cases and this and that. He probably did a lot of bad things, but that aside, he's a very intelligent black man. He's everybody's dad, you know, on TV. Mr. Cosby, Phil Huxtable or Cliff Huxtable, whatever his name was. He was a doctor, you know. He broke the stereotypes. You know, that show was revolutionary, what they did. It was, you know, black people were no longer just thugs and and just regular old dancers and just acting like coons. We're lawyers, we're doctors, we're professionals, you know, CEOs. Anyway, let's keep going.
You know what I mean? Like, fuck yourself. I'm plenty black. Thank you. Take a look.
The Jews, by the way, have asked me to pull back.
It's good. You're good. It's fine.
It's enough. It's enough. Don't go to every sale.
She made her roasted. She made her roasted for everyone.
It's enough. It's enough. I was just wondering about that because he gets such criticism. I think, are you crazy? He represents the most wonderful, educated, smart family man. Yeah. What are you talking
also, they're
about?
his own opinions and his own ideas, and so attribute them to him as a man, not him as a black man or him as a representative. You have to be true to yourself. Your audience will find you, and the rest of those people can shove it as deeply into the place where the sun doesn't shine as they can reach.
Say it right into the
Shove it up your butt, not in the fun way, not in the party way, in the ouchie, like I went to the doctor way, and didn't take my medication first way.
Okay, all right. I guess just a few final comments on this. I just want to echo what she said. Just be yourself. You know, if you're watching this video, you've probably faced some criticism, and especially if you're black or Hispanic or Asian, you've probably faced some criticism for not being enough of your race, or, you know, whatever that means. Just be yourself. Be yourself. You know, obviously you don't want to completely try to copy another race. That's creepy. But if you were raised in a certain community, act accordingly. That's who you are. You can't erase your childhood. You can't erase, you know, like, for instance, I can't go back and talk like a slave, like some of my brothers in the hood can. I can't pretend. I can't even pretend. Matter of fact, I had a friend yesterday. I was talking to one of my boys, and he told me, we were having this conversation because I watched some of these videos yesterday, and he told me that he was like, man, in middle school, he was like, can you believe I used to practice Ebonics? I used to practice speaking Ebonics just so I could fit in. And I just thought that was amazing, man. I thought that was so sad. And that's the pressure Black America puts on people, on black people, to sound stupid, man. I mean, honestly, look, I've heard kids in the hood. I've talked to little kids in the hood who sound just like their ignorant parents, you know, and it's so sad, man. It's so sad. These kids can hardly speak English, you know, and when you really think about it, it's just like, you know, it's like, man, you know, what happened here? Who in the black community told us that it was cool to speak this way? Who in the black community told us it was cool to wear your pants around your knees? where did we go wrong? What happened? Anyway, be yourself, be true to yourself, and do yourself a big favor and ignore the hood patrol, ignore the ghetto police, ignore the Ebonics police. This is Common Denominator. I'm out.